Okay, we are live now. Welcome everybody to Edwin the Magic Engineer again. And today we got a real fun topic. I'm going to be going over what I consider are my 10 best, or the top 10 coolest things that you can do in Magic the Gathering in terms of like combo or plays. And this is, I think, it's a real wide open topic, right? Everyone's going to have a different list. And I'm going to wait a bit I'm going to do another announcement because people are going to be coming into this stream because I unfortunately got started a few minutes late. We were just a few doors down the street, and I was dropping off a Christmas present for some neighbors, and we got kind of chatty, and then I got back and I didn't have time to grab all my notes and get ready for tonight. So for starters, I apologize to everyone for being just a couple minutes late. So y'all try to be a little bit more punctual and be on time. So, okay. So Vintage MTG, we got Dan in the house, and you're not the only one here. We have 10 people here, Dan, actually. So, and I got my lovely wife over here. She's going to be moderating again, just making sure all that goes well. Let me get this chat all popped out into a separate window over here because then I can track that a little bit better. Okay, so yeah, again, so like last time when I was going over what I consider the most undervalued, underplayed cards, I had kind of like a formula and a pattern that I went with because I knew everyone was going to have their own perception on what was meant by that. And this one's even more wide open than that. In this topic where I'm going over what I think are the best kind of combo / plays that I think exist in Magic the Gathering. Yeah, it's a pretty wide open topic, right? So let me try to better define it so you guys can have some good guesses on what it is I'm actually going to be kind of referring to. So it's not just 2-card combos, 3-card combos, because then what everyone's going to do is like immediately just go for, okay, well, let's go down the list of infinite combos. And that's no fun because everybody can do that. You know, like the whole Storm Cauldron, Fast Bond, that one, or you can go with the Basalt Monolith Power Artifact, or you can go with the Pegasus ones that creates infinite Pegasus, or you can go infinite Time Walk turns. There's all these infinite combos people can go for. That's way too easy. No. So just right off the bat, that's not what I'm doing. I'm not just going straight for infinite combos. Part of what I wanted to go for was those kind of combos that they're like when someone's playing a game and something happens and somebody responds and does just this one perfect thing. Like everyone around the table is like, oh my gosh, that was the perfect play. And just look at how beautiful that was. Look at how amazing that play was. That's some of the ones I'm looking at. But then I'm also looking at some of like the multi-card combos that just kind of defined the format and just kind of became a big deal and everything. So somebody, Mrs. Santa, someone's saying.
Sorry. I just came from a Christmas Disney thing.
Yeah, we just actually went over to the Grand Floridian for the first time just because we just wanted to check it out. And it's such a cool hotel. And I guess normally you have to like actually have like, you know, official reservations there, but we just.
No, not to walk in.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say to park. You need to have reservations at the restaurant or something like that. So, but the guard was nice and just let us go in there and park and then walk around. Okay, so we got 18 people here. That's probably a good amount to actually start going through the list. Okay, so again, for some of the people that just joined, I'm just going to recap. Well, maybe I'll wait to recap because I don't want to keep redoing it. So let's see. Let me bring up my list. I got to get my email up again because the email is where I actually have my list. Okay. So most of these cards that I'm going to mention, I've got cards on hand ready to show you. And there's only like, out of my 10, there's only 2 sets I actually turned out to not own, which I actually thought I had all these cards. So, oh well, number 10 is one of them. So the deck called Prosperous Bloom is the first one that I put on my list because that deck just defined the format so much. It was based on these 2 cards. One of them is Prosperity. Of course, I have Prosperity, but it's a blue X spell. And the more mana you pay, like everyone draws cards for X, right? So generally speaking, people like playing with Prosperity because everybody gets to draw. It's like a, you know, sorcery speed Howling Mine for everybody where it's just you're going to get a ton of cards. But what you do is you draw a ton of cards with Prosperity, and then Cadaverous Bloom says you can just pitch cards from your hand and just generate mana. So obviously the deck just draws a lot of cards and pitches a lot of cards, and so it just generates mana and card draw. And then there's all kinds of ways you can try to like win, but that was very big and it was very defining at the time that it actually came out. And it was a very tough deck to beat. I mean, I think a Prosperous Bloom deck actually won for the Pro Tour at the time that it came out. So it was big and it was defining. I figured that it had to be on my list somewhere. And again, I don't have a lot of like just 2-card combos on my list, but like that one just really stood out in my mind. So number 2, I do have these cards on hand. So anyone want to guess what number 2 actually is? Armageddon. I see that B.A. Karras said, no, it's not Armageddon. I'll give you one of the cards, and then let's see if you guys can nail the other one. That is a Zeranorb. That's what that is. So who can nail what that other card is? I know you guys have seen it. People have played it. I've had it played on me a few times too. Land tax. Nope, not land tax. It is Balance. So these two, Balance and Zeranorb. So these two, when Ice Age came out, Balanced, it was already a strong card, but it just got this huge juice from it, right? Because what people would do is they would toss Balance and then they would land, like sack all their lands to the Zeranorb. And then so it would be like an Armageddon kind of across the board, but you gathered up like all this life from actually doing it. Or another way to do it is if you thought your opponent was going to actually cast Balance and you drop your land tax onto the board. Or sorry, your Zeranorb onto the board. So I keep saying land tax. So you would try to prevent him from actually balancing because he doesn't want to lose all his lands, right? So I thought it was a really good 2-card combo. It was a really good answer for when you don't want your opponent to balance. And it was also just an amazing way to increase the already overpowered power of Balance. So I put that as number 9 on my list. So let's continue on. Now, the next one actually is another 2-card combo. I see this played a lot in Vintage, and it's actually just, it's amazingly powerful and way too easy to actually get out. And it is, okay, let's see. I'm going to show one of the cards again. Let's see if everyone can guess what the other one is going to be. One of them is Grindstone. Grindstone. Let's see if anyone can guess what that other card is.
You have a question.
Yeah.
Okay. Hershey wants to know, do you own a Black Lotus? If so, which one?
Yes, I do own a Black Lotus. It is an unlimited Black Lotus signed by Christopher Rush. And I actually bought it from Vintage Magic. And Daniel Chang from Vintage Magic is actually in this chat. I'll show you my actual Lotus. I have it actually right here in my Vintage deck. It's taking me a sec to get down to it. There it is. That is it. That is my unlimited Black Lotus that I bought from Vintage Magic a couple years ago. Okay, so now B.A. Karras says that artifact creature. So yeah, we have Grindstone as one of the cards, and yep, Painter's Servant is the other one. So I don't know if I can get that to focus in there. So what Painter's Servant does is when he comes into play, you choose a color, and all cards that aren't in play, spells and permanents, are the chosen color in addition to their other spells. So what you basically do is you get this in play, and everything becomes the same color. And then the Grindstone says, put the top 2 cards of target player's library into that player's graveyard. Now, here's the key. If both cards share at least one color, repeat this process. So you're going to just keep dumping. You're going to millstone people, right? But now all their cards are the same color cards. You basically just eat their deck, right? And if you look at that, this was 1 to get out. This was 2 to actually get out. So even on like a normal mana curve on turn 3, you deck them, right? But you're probably playing this in Vintage. So you probably played a couple Moxes and stuff like that. You might have been able to fire this off immediately, right? Or maybe like turn 2. So there's decks that play these two, and they're just amazing, right? It's a very powerful combo. So I put that as number 8 on my list. Okay, so now, looks like Dingo says, I didn't recognize the new card you showed for Zeranorb. Okay, yeah, so there's an old art for Zeranorb, and I do have those, the Ice Age ones, the originals. That one is the foil one. It's one of the ultimate sets. I forget what you call it. Okay, so the next one, it's a 2-card combo. And yeah, I do actually have more than I was thinking I actually have in here. But anyways, it's a 2-card combo. I play it in my vintage deck. And I put it in here. Now, this is, of course, like, this is one of the reasons I'm saying this is my list. Y'all are going to have your own list as well, right? Because I'm definitely, I like these cards. And that's probably why they went on my list, is like some of like the best like combos and like the biggest things you can possibly do. Okay, so one of them is Goblin Welder. Can you guys guess what the other one is going to be? Oh, so MTG Canuck says, do I own a fresh beta Underground Sea? No, I have 4 revised Underground Seas. Open Boosters has a beta Underground Sea that's definitely fresh because we just opened it like a week ago when I went over there to drop off like a camera and some stuff. And then he hauled me upstairs and he was like, let's open a beta pack. And I was like, okay. And then we opened up that beta Underground Sea. Are you asking? Okay, so you guys are asking what the other card is with Goblin Welder. No, it's not a Su-Chi. Now this is vintage, guys. So like any card is possible. Anything out there is possible. Any other guesses? What combos with the Goblin Welder here? Mindslaver. Yep, you nailed it. Now these two, it's just huge because now people might sit there and think, okay, so well, you're going to put something huge in the graveyard and weld it out. So most people initially would think a creature or something like that. And, you know, that's oftentimes that's really big. That can win the game. There are absolutely big creatures that you can drop in the graveyard and weld back into play for sure, right? But you got to really think about the Mindslaver. So for those who are not familiar with it, it's a 6 casting cost artifact. And you just pay 4 and you sacrifice it to activate it. And then you control the other guy's turn. And you got to really think that through. You're going to control everything he does. So like he literally hands you his hand and you untap his lands. You choose to do something on his upkeep. You draw the card from him and then you make every decision, right? So it's like if you drew a lightning bolt, then you bolt your own creature, or maybe you cast your own Fellwar Stone and then force a will it and then pitch one of your own blue cards. So it's like you just rip their hand apart, right? And then another one that a lot of people don't really think about sometimes is like a card like Gifts Ungiven is amazing with the Mindslaver, because what normally happens is Gifts lets me go tutor for 4 cards in my deck, right? But then I have to hand those to the opponent, and the opponent gets to like split them up and say these 2 go to your hand and these 2 go to your graveyard. So the opponent's got a good decision that they can make and they can try to recover, right? Well, if it's during a Mindslaver turn and I cast Gifts, and then now since I'm controlling their decisions, I actually get to decide how that Gifts pile is going to be split. So I'll pick 2 that I want to be in the graveyard and put them in there, and I'll pick 2 that I really want in my hand, which oftentimes is like Time Walk and Yawgmoth's Will, and I'll put those in my hand. So powerful. And when you got the Goblin Welder and the Mindslaver, then you're going to be Mindslavering them several times at least, because you've probably got artifacts like Moxes that you can sacrifice to keep getting the Mindslaver back into play. And almost every time, if you Mindslaver somebody like a couple of times, even just like twice, you're probably going to win. So once I activate that Slaver even once, even though it's just a 6-drop artifact, instead of just being this huge creature, it actually just ends the game, right? And it's so easy to do that, especially if you can pitch it for a Thirst for Knowledge. So yeah, that's number 7 on my list. Okay. Now, do we have any other questions?
Nope.
Okay. So now the next one, this is the only other pair that I don't actually have the cards for. I thought I did. I could have sworn I in fact, my list says I should own 4 of them. But anyways, number 6 on my list is Vampire Hexmage and Dark Depths. And what those 2 are is Vampire Hexmage will just remove like all the counters from something. And Dark Depths is this land that comes into play, and you have to keep on paying mana to pull the counters off. And then once you finally get them all off, you get this 20/20 land that you can swing with. So that's just been huge in, I think it's mainly Legacy that gets played in. And so, sorry, guys, I was going to bring those cards out. surprised myself, and I should have at least the Vampire Hex Mages, but they should be in there. I just didn't find them. And the Dark Depths I thought I owned, but apparently I don't own, so I must have sold mine or something like that. So I'm just going to roll forward because the next one, this is a big 2-card combo that actually gets played in Vintage, and it's just so amazingly easy to bring out, and people build a deck all around it. So let's see. I want to see if I can get people guessing because right now everyone's staying pretty silent down there. Okay, so for this combo, one of them is a land, and the other one is an enchantment. So and it's played heavily in Vintage. So I want to know what you guys think that actually is. I see Time Vault plus Key. That Hermod guessed. No. And it's not Merit Lage. Nope. Okay, then would it be Karase? I hope you have the Enduring Renewal, Ornithopter, Goblin Bombardment. Nope, that's not one of the ones I picked either. Okay, 2-card combo. One of them's a land, one of them's an enchantment. I'll give you guys another key, another hint here. That the enchantment is green. Does that give anyone any hints? It's a 2-card combo. One's an enchantment, the other one's a land. And the enchantment is green. It's silent tonight on the chat.
Yeah, it is quiet.
Everybody must be busy doing something else. Okay, final hint. Let's see if anyone can guess. This is the land. Forbidden Orchard. Forbidden Orchard is the land. So what this land actually does is it taps for 1 mana of any color, which is great. And for the drawback, you have to give your opponent a creature, a 1/1 spirit. There we go. Oath of Druids. Yep, that's the other one. So I think this is just a huge 2-card combo. It is so easy to do. So for those who are not familiar with it, the Oath of Druids says when your opponent has more creatures than you, you just start turning over cards from the top of your library during your upkeep. And the first creature that you hit just comes right into play from the top of your library, and everything else just goes in the graveyard. So what people do is they'll put like a huge creature that in their deck, and that'll be like their only creature. So you just dig down until you get this massive creature that comes into play, right? But the trick is your opponent has to have more creatures than you. So if you slap out an Oath of Druids, people are just generally not going to play a creature. Well, that's why that Forbidden Orchard comes into play. Well, because the Forbidden Orchard gives you a mana of any color, which is amazing. But then when it gives your opponent that 1/1 creature, well, now that triggers the Oath. And you got to realize this will happen on turn 1 because it's very often you'll draw a Forbidden Orchard and a Mox. And then you'll put those on the table and a Mox, the Forbidden Orchard, and the Oath of Druids. So you play the Mox, play the Forbidden Orchard, play the Oath, and then on your upkeep, you're just going to get to fire it off and go get something huge. And it's so easy to do in Vintage. There's been so many decks built around it. It's an amazing combo. So that's it. So we have a question here.
Oh, sorry. Simon asks, Edwin, do you know if there are any unopened alpha booster boxes in any collector's possession?
Yes, there are. I know for a fact that Open Boosters has stuff because like he doesn't hide it. I'm not letting the cat out of the bag. In fact, in one of my videos, he has an alpha starter deck pack. That's 10 alpha starter decks. And he had it just sitting there on his desk right next to like that, the brick. Yeah. He had it sitting on his desk right next to the beta print sheet. And I walked in when like a bunch of us were visiting and I saw it and I asked him if that's what it was. And he said, yeah. And so I started that little video and leaned in and pretended to lick it. So yeah, he's got that for sure. Yeah, Open Boosters is fantastic. Okay, so the next combo. Let me get my list back up here. Okay, so the next one, it is number 4 on my list. And I'll show you one of the cards. People are probably going to misguess what the other one is. Standstill is one of the cards. And yeah, this is a foil standstill. For those that are not familiar with it, The Standstill is a blue enchantment that when you play it, as soon as anyone plays another spell, the Standstill is sacrificed and everyone else gets to draw 3. And so I'm sure a lot of people are probably going to start guessing at what the other one is, and I'm guessing they're probably going to guess it wrong. What do you guys think this is going to be? The second card to go with the Standstill. Any guesses? No one's guessing. Everyone's so silent right now. Okay, it is.
There's a couple people that could have been from the last.
Awkward silence. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just going to roll forward. You guys aren't saying anything. So the second one is Aether Vial. Now, this is an amazing combo, and it's number 4 on my list because the Standstill, I'm going to talk more about this one because people really underrate this card. It's a very undervalued card. But the Aether Vial is huge because you put it out on the table turn 1, and then it's just going to sit there and build counters. You're going to let it get as big as you want it to actually get. And what the Vial does is, as an ability, you tap it, and you put a creature into play that equals the number of counters on it. And every upkeep, you get more counters on it, right? Well, that's an ability. That's not casting a spell from your hand. So if you actually do the Standstill, now you're going to get to draw cards, right, if they play something. But if you have that Aether Vial already on the table, well, you're going to be casting creatures onto the table constantly. But they can't play any because they can't cast any spells. And as soon as they do, you crack your Standstill and you draw 3. So this is a really good situation to put them in. Most of the time when people play Standstill, they assume you're going to be playing a deck called Land Still. That's actually just all lands that can activate into creatures and stuff like that, which is huge in Legacy. It's got a presence in Vintage. And the lands, of course, you're not casting them. So lands is the typical way that people get around a Standstill, but the Aether Vial can do it as well, right? Now, I want to mention something else about Standstill specifically. This card is incredibly undervalued, because everyone, once the deck Landstill came out, everyone got it so solidly in their heads that, oh, well, the only thing that you can possibly do with like that is like that Landstill deck. And so they always think you're going to be playing lands with it. And I've built decks and I've blown people away with the strategy on it. You don't need to have Landstill. You don't need to only do lands. You don't even need just Aether Vial. All that you need to make Standstill an amazing card is you just have to have board advantage, right? If whatever you have down on the board means eventually you're going to win, right? Then most of the time you can drop a Standstill and you can just keep pressing that advantage, and sooner or later they're going to crack it and you're going to draw 3. And so one of the decks I played Standstill with, just to prove my point, I played in Legacy an aggressive Goblins deck that was like blue-red Goblins, and it would just power these Goblins onto the table really fast, and then it would drop a Standstill. And the thing was, like, they had to respond because the Goblins are going to beat the snot out of them if they didn't respond to it. So they would have to do something, and then that Standstill would just crack and fill my hand up with more cards. And it was all like, just lots of fast Goblins and lightning bolt, chain lightnings, and just, damage you could just throw at their face. But that combo worked out so good. So Standstill, you guys, I have been waiting for years for the Magic community to figure out that this card is undervalued. And that's one of the reasons why I went out and actually bought foil Standstills, because they're so good. But it's like people just, all they ever use it for is Landstill, and they just totally miss it. So yeah, that was combo number 4.
Patrick made a suggestion. Say maybe you could read the card because some people don't have the text memorized. Just a thought.
Oh yeah. So if there's any cards I said that you guys would like read, please go ahead and list them. And please don't be embarrassed to say it, because the fact of the matter is, like, not everyone is familiar with every format. There's thousands of cards inside of Magic the Gathering. It's perfectly acceptable to just not know a big card in another format. So yeah, please just call it out.
Also, Dylan said, do new cards show up on your radar? I don't know the Vintage Legacy meta to see new opportunities as they arise. Absolutely, new cards come onto my radar.
That's definitely something I consider. The one that almost made my list was Aether Flux Reservoir, I think it's called. It's a Kaladesh 4-drop artifact that you can just pay 50 life to do 50 damage to somebody. And then I think it gains you life. Like every spell you cast, like your first spell turn gets you 1 life, the second spell gives you 2 life. Like that card is just like begging for a storm deck. It is a broken card, honestly. It's really good. And so that almost went into my list because there's a ton of things you can play with, and that's Kaladesh, right? But it hasn't, not enough people have played it. It hasn't been broken enough. So I don't know, it just barely stayed off my list. But yeah, definitely I'm looking at the newer cards as well. And again, this is my very biased Edwin list. There's probably an awful lot of combos out there that are very deserving to be on this list that I didn't put on, right?
Carl asked, if you already have the advantages, then do you really need it? I'd rather just have another FOW or threat.
Very good question. There's a concept that Carl's referring to out there in Magic that people call win more. It's once you've already got a game locked up. It's like, okay, great. You know, you were at 1 life when you won. I could have been at 1,000,000 life when I won. It's still a win. You know, the fact that you're at 1,000,000 life doesn't really help you anymore. The question is, how do you get to that spot where you're in control, right? And so the Aether Flux Reservoir, the argument that a person could make against that is if you have 50 life, you're already doing really good, right? The counter I would say to something like that is like when you have a card like Aether Flux Reservoir that lets you build up a lot of life, you're going to fill your deck with an awful lot of things to gain life, right? And so that not only helps you actually stay alive in the actual game, but if you can get it over 50 life and you got one sitting on the table, you're going to win. So it's a little bit of an iffy thing, but Carl's his point is incredibly valid. And it's one of the biggest newbie mistakes that newbies make most of the time is like they go for win more, right? They just get stars in their eyes with like some kind of combo that would just do something big and amazing. And they forget the fact that it's just getting to the point where you can play that combo is really the question. Any other questions?
No.
Okay. So let's see. I have 3 left. So my number 3 is, this is actually a card that was on one of my most undervalued lists that I played during our last live stream. It is Hurkyl's Recall. But it's not necessarily like the way that most of you are thinking about it, probably. Combo it up with any card that's going to like just make everyone like discard their hand and like draw a bunch of cards or like shuffle away. So you just pair it up with Time Twister or Wheel of Fortune, any of those, right? So I'll actually refer to, since people ask like what this actually does. So Hurkyl's Recall, you target a player and all of their artifacts come right back up to their hands. You can do it for yourself or you can do it for someone else, right? So the thing is, if like anyone in the table, like especially in like EDH, this is huge. Somebody resolves a Time Twister, right? Now everyone's gonna like shuffle their hand, graveyard, library together, draw 7 cards, right? So if you Hurkyls them, somebody else, right when somebody else resolves a Time Twister, well, like all of their mana rocks, all of their artifact creatures, everything comes back up into their hand before the twist resolves. Then you shuffle it all in and twist it away, and you just blew out like 10, 15 cards from their board state, you know, just so easily. So that's a really awesome 2-card combo that I've played, and every time it happens, it's like, you know, somebody like, you know, they cast a Wheel of Fortune, and everyone at the table is like, oh, Wheel of Fortune, everyone's all excited. Then you Hurkyl someone, and then it's like, oh my gosh, that guy got a Hurkyl. That is so bad, and he just loses all that stuff on his side. So yeah, MTG Owl said, yeah, that's dirty. It is a little dirty. It's kind of rude. Okay, so I was mentioning that for like EDH is one of the amazing places I like to see it played. So this next 2, they're both in my estimation for what I'm going to suggest. These ones are of that category I mentioned at the beginning for plays that are just like, it's not like, these aren't combos. These are both single card interactions. But used in this way, they're amazing. And I've actually mentioned them in other videos that I've done before. Now, they're both 1 mana. The first one that I'm going to mention, it's one of the coolest moves I've ever seen somebody do. And when I play it on someone in like a Commander or an EDH game, it definitely gets everyone on the table howling. So any guesses what it is? It's a 1 mana spell. It's big in Commander and EDH. See if I can get you guys talking here. So Paul looks like he says Goblin Balloon Brigade plus Bloodlust, Dead Sarah Angel out of nowhere. Yeah, that can totally happen. For sure. Okay, so no. Nobody's saying? No one's guessing? Okay. Wow, you guys are silent tonight. Okay, it is Berserk. I was gonna say Time Twister. I wasn't gonna say Time Twister for. It's Berserk. Okay, so here's the situation. In a group game, you got a bunch of people around the table. So for anyone who doesn't know, Berserk, it actually multiplies the opponent's creature. It doubles the attack power, and it gives that creature trample ability, and it's played as an instant. Now, if a creature is Berserk when it's attacking, at the end of the turn when it was attacking, it's destroyed. So here's what's happening. Say you at least got 3 guys, right? You're the guy in the middle, and one of your friends is attacking the other friend. And this guy has the biggest creature on the table, right? The biggest one. It's like an 11/11 or something really huge. It's just, or it's threatening. You want to get it off the table, right? So this guy attacks this guy. And so you Berserk his creature. And now this guy is going to take twice the damage. He's going to just get smashed in the face, right? For a 1 green instant. That's already pretty big. But then this guy loses his best creature, right? For a 1 green instant. It's like the most amazing move. So yeah, it's not so much a combo. This is one of the, for her mod that maybe you weren't here at the beginning. This is this isn't just combos. This is like some of those plays that you can pull off. It just makes everybody sit back and be like, oh, okay, that was so good. I love the Berserk play inside of an EDH game. It is one of my favorite things to do because someone's got a huge threatening creature, and as soon as it swings another direction, I just Berserk it and just blow it off the table and make someone else take a ton of damage. Okay, so the last one, it is a 1-mana spell, just like the other one is. And I really like this one because it's not as like harsh as the Berserk is inside of an EDH or a Commander game. It's much more political, but it's beautiful. I love this move just because it's absolutely beautiful. So let me give you the situation. Very similar. You've got a bunch of friends. You're all playing like an EDH game, right? And someone's got a huge creature in play, right? Now, these games, they get very political. Like if I bolt someone's creature, they're probably going to attack me. If I attack them, they attack back, right? So you kind of want everyone to attack everyone else. You kind of don't want to be the guy that actually gets attacked. But sometimes there's a creature that you know, like it's going to be a beat stick. It's going to come out and it's going to swing every turn, right? Or like you think he's maybe going to attack you. So what you do, I love this move so much. Spirit Link. You take a Spirit Link and you drop it on their creature. Now, for anyone who's not familiar, Spirit Link, it's a really simple card. It's a 1 white enchantment. It was originally printed in Legends. And what it does is it gets that creature, when that creature deals damage, you, the caster of Spirit Link, gets to gain the life. That's actually life linked off of it. So like that similar situation, one guy's got like a 10/10 and he's going to swing and beat everyone else. Well, when you Spirit Link it, you're basically, now I'm going to get 10 life every time he swings. And there's no reason for him to attack me because he's just going to take off 10 life and then I'm going to get the 10 life right back. So as long as you can survive it, you're fine, right? It nullifies the damage. But if you think about what it also does, and this is the beautiful part about it, it basically, it just puts you right into like a working relationship with that person, right? Because now they're kind of like your ally, right? And like as they're going to go ahead and beat everyone else down, and you're going to gain the life, and you're going to be less likely to like go off and attack them. So you nullified the biggest creature on the board. You put a huge life gain instrument down on the board, and you immediately grabbed an ally right off the board, right? It's this amazing political move that you can pull off for a 1 white enchantment, and I just think it's fantastic. So when I was thinking about this list of like the top, like, you know, 10 like either combos or amazing play strategies, just that was number 1 on my list. It had to be because it's so beautiful for how it actually comes out. Most of the time, if I Spirit Link someone's creature, they don't even bother, like they're not angry at me. They don't like attack me. And it's just like, I didn't really piss them off, right? They just kind of go on about their way and swing it around the table and crush everyone else with it. So, Mr. Habanero says, I was typing Spirit Link and waiting for me to ask what we thought. Too slow, I guess. Yeah, so I've mentioned it in other videos that I just love that combo so much. And every time it comes out, it's always like huge inside of like an EDH or a commander kind of game.
MTG Owl said Edwin's top 10 dirty plays.
Top 10 dirty plays. Yeah, the last one is a little bit dirty. It's a little bit more political, right?
Naughty.
Yeah. If I spirit link your creature, you don't completely hate me. You're a little grumpy about it, but then you're very begrudgingly you're not gonna not use your creature. You probably put 8 or 9 mana into casting it. You're just gonna go swing it and crush everyone else, right? So that's just such a good play. What is my all-time favorite artwork? See, yeah, we're so caught up right now. I'm just doing fine. So my all-time favorite artwork. I think somebody asked that last time. The Time Walk is definitely pretty high on my list by Amy Weber. That is definitely pretty big.
Oh, one of the Sapphire.
Yeah, I think the last time someone asked me what my favorite artwork was, I keep leaning towards, I remember what it was. MTG Canuck, another YouTube channel. I just did an interview with him. So you guys, by the way, go check out his channel. He's one of the people in Exotic MTG's 31 Days of Christmas giveaway. So Exotic MTG is doing a giveaway. 31 other YouTube creators all joined in, and we're just giving cards out from our own collections, but it's got to be sealed. And so people join this giveaway, and if they win, then we open online and we just give it to them. So anyways, MTG Canuck is one of those other channels on that giveaway. And he just asked me that question about artwork as well. And I think what I told him is Dan Fraser's Moxes are really big. They're way up my list. And also some of Mark Tedin's artwork, like the Soul Ring and Jazam, or Huzam, however you say it. I really like that stuff. Just that old original stuff that's not super complicated. Like in a card, that's like some of my favorite artwork. If I had to pick a top favorite, I don't know, man. It's tough. You know, the Library of Alexandria that you see right up here, that's definitely pretty high on the list as well. I don't know. I'm really on the fence about it. I don't know if I can pick an absolute one favorite.
Patrick is asking, I've been a Magic player for over 20 years and love the game. Recently introduced to Keyforge. Have you heard of it? Have you played it? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I was talking to Perp a little bit ago. I had a video interview with MTG Purple, who's just my catcher. And yeah, he's really big into Keyforge because he was just kind of frustrated with Magic, and Keyforge is like another way to do a card game. And so I've definitely been talking to people about it and hearing about it. It sounds like a pretty cool game. I have personally not played it yet. The very small amount of free time that I've got has pretty much all been given to you guys for this YouTube channel, the Instagram posts, creating video content and stuff. It's been very hard for me to do anything else, right? And so the one thing I'm doing on the side is also I'm getting that Arcade 1-Up video ready. I'm trying to collect what I'm going to say for a video about that stuff because I think those are a lot of fun as well. So yeah, in terms of Keyforge, I've not yet played it yet, but it sounds really cool.
Paul says, thanks for the memories of old school Magic. Have a great day. His favorite artwork is Spinal Villain. Gotta like that. Anson Maddox. Yeah, Anson Maddox is an artist that just has that guy must have had a really dark childhood. That's all I can say. I mean, the things that I've seen pop out of his head into artwork. What does the card look like?
Well, he's got like some where like a guy's head is like halfway opening up and there's like an alien that's kind of coming out, and he's done pictures of something where you're looking at like some kind of creature in people's intestines, and yeah, it's just like
Maybe he watched a lot of Alien as a child.
Maybe he did. Yeah.
that movie. Yeah. No.
Oh yeah. So Roger is asking about the full beta set. Yeah, I have almost all the cards in that beta set. It's funny, like I kind of bought that for myself. It was almost like a quasi birthday present. I had all this investment money ready for something like that. I wanted to buy back into Power 9. And so I bought that. And that was before I did this whole Edwin the Magic Engineer channel. And for that beta set specifically, yeah, there was 5 of the Power 9 were in it. And then it was like 45 beta rares in total. And then 1 of every common, 1 of every uncommon. And I almost have all of those cards. But I did sell enough of the cards to get the cash built up to go buy the other missing Power 9 that I needed, which was like the Time Walk and the Ancestral and the Time Twister and the Lotus, stuff like that. So I sold a little bit of it, but I have 90% of that beta set still. Yeah.
Tyler's here, by the way. He just wants to say hi to you.
Oh, hey, Tyler. ZT. So is that my new friend Tyler from Orlando?
Yes.
Okay. How's it going, Tyler?
And then Lucaris, I don't know. I probably say
it's B.A. Karas.
Yeah. What do you think about Ultimate Masters?
So Ultimate Masters, I actually, my opinion was wrong on that. I thought Wizards of the Coast was going to do another Iconic or Masters 25. And because, you know, they kept doing it. We kept hearing the same kind of stuff before those sets came out, that this is going to be a huge set. There's a ton of EV in it. Wizards is really swinging for the fences in terms of EV. Heard that story for both of them. And then Iconic and Masters 25 are both just epic disappointments, right? And so I literally thought this was going to be like another case of that. Turns out to not be. It turns out that they actually did put some really serious value in the set. So I'm very pleasantly surprised and happy to have been wrong there, because I don't want Wizards to do bad. I want the company to do well. And so I'm really glad that they actually stepped it up. I don't think that they needed to actually raise the price like they actually did. I think that actually kind of sucks that they raised the price. And so in terms of long-term value, like Rudy has been putting out videos where he's saying like there's a current slowdown in prices. It's like the prices are coming down, but that's just because people bought so much, they put so much money in, they need to recoup some of their capital, so they're selling that stuff off just to get some of their cash back, and that's driving prices down like crazy. He may very well end up being right, that maybe it's a fantastic time to run in and actually buy some of those cards because they're probably actually going to go up in value. Maybe. The one big question that I've got is, I know Wizards of the Coast made an awful lot of money with that Ultimate Masters set. And I have a hard time believing that they're not going to keep printing them. Seems like there's a decent chance that they're actually going to do that, because they keep claiming that they want to drop prices of all these modern staples so people can actually afford them. And Wizards of the Coast is making a ton of money by selling these actual packs, because instead of the hobby shop making money, they're selling them for more. So the hobby shops and all the distributors are paying Wizards a lot more for making it. So we're basically asking Wizards of the Coast to stop making an awful lot of money for a very easy to make and distribute product. And I know that they've had some money troubles. You can see it in how Hasbro's earnings have actually gone. It's a very tough thing for me to swallow that they're actually going to just set that aside and not keep printing and not make money. My gut's telling me that they're going to keep printing and selling them. And if they do, then those prices might just keep falling. And so you might maybe eventually see Ultimate Masters box prices drop. And I know I'm on a different page with Rudy than that, but you know, that's my opinion. And I was already wrong once on it, because I didn't think it was going to be as good as it actually is. And it turned out to actually be really good. So, which I'm glad I was wrong.
I answered this for Carl already, but he wanted to know if that was the Les Paul behind you.
That is a Les Paul. Yeah. Let me show you. Yeah, it is an Epiphone Les Paul. I do actually play guitar. I have only one video where I've actually played guitar, and nobody liked it. Nobody watched it. Nobody liked it. And yeah, I played.
Jealous.
I played like some Zeppelin and some other stuff, and I was wanting to do more guitar playing content. Actually, no, that's not true. I have 2 guitar videos. One of them where I was actually just full on talking about only guitar, and another one where I called it like story time, and I talked about this cool thing that happened with like one of my subscribers where he actually gave me a Badlands, and it was just like he wanted it. His name was Alec, and he wanted to be very appreciative and show his appreciation for what I'm doing in my channel. So he offered to give me a Badlands, and I wanted to show him that what he was doing meant that much to me as well. So I asked him to sign it, to sign the Badlands. So he knew that like I was never going to sell it because it's just signed by some guy, not like the artist or anything. So he did. He actually sent me the Badlands, and I've actually got it here in my binder somewhere. I don't know if you guys can see this. Let me go to it. Here it is. Okay, so there's my dual lands. And that's actually it. That's the Badlands that's signed by Alec. And so anyways, yeah, in that video, I was actually playing guitar, and I had the guitar like in the background, and so when you see like the title and everything, I'm actually playing, and people probably didn't know it unless they're like, "Gosh, this sucks." And then you go to the actual main video, and they're like, "Oh, it's Edwin playing." Okay, that's why it's so terrible, right?
Mr. Habanero says, a card I've always had an affinity for, but nobody seems to like is Juxtapose. I think it's easy to make it one-sided. Have you ever messed around with this card?
I have not personally. So just so I can get my head in the right spot and refresh myself, I'm going to pull that up, card Juxtapose. I'm pulling up Gather right now.
Let me ask you another question while you're looking
sure.
it up. Let's see. Oh, Rubik's 2007 is saying, do you own a collector's edition or international box set? If not, is it something that now interests you to maybe get a hold of now that the prices have been shooting up on the cards?
Okay, so... Okay, this is really harsh. So I have owned Collector's Edition Power 9 twice, actually. I've never owned a full Collector's Edition set. Now, about 2.5 years ago, somewhere around there, I saw a full Collector's Edition box that was on sale on eBay for $500. I could have actually bought it. And like, I knew they were going to go up. I had no idea about the whole old school and all the rules and all that, but just, I knew that they were just, people loved them. They're out of print. They're very rare. So I very much wanted to buy it. And I remember actually even talking to you about it, but I remember I kept dropping hints like, there's a collector's edition 500. It's right there. I really want to get it. So I ended up not getting it. And so I don't know what those are going for now, like 5,000 or 7,000 or something like that for a box. And I do believe that who knows if they're going to go straight up? They might drop a little bit and then go back up, but absolutely their direction is up because they are official Wizards of the Coast product, very limited in print. They are accepted in the old school community as the real thing, and people just love them. I love them. They just look beautiful. So, oh, I wish I bought that set when that came out.
Frank G said he wish he could jam with you.
I wish I could jam with you too, Frank.
Yeah.
Come to Orlando and then send me an email and maybe we can meet up.
Oh, are you still...
So I got the Juxtapose here. So I'm just going to read it off to everyone. So it's a 4-mana sorcery that's 1 blue and 3. You and target player exchange control of the creature you each control with the highest converted mana cost. Then exchange control of 2 artifacts the same way. Then exchange control of artifacts the same way. If 2 or more permanents a player controls are tied for highest cost, their controller chooses one of them. Okay, so Juxtapose is a card where you can start swapping stuff with other people. Okay, so I've never personally played Juxtapose. What I did play in the Magic the Gathering, that very first digital version that was made by Microprose years ago. You guys might have seen videos of MTG Purple playing it. It's that little chandelier where you have the guy and you're walking around. They created this card that only exists in that game called Power Struggle. And that's kind of what you're doing. Like you and the opponent are swapping permanents back and forth. And Power Struggle, it's obviously a powerful card. It seems like it could have a lot of really good uses. But like half the time when I'm playing the game and the computer's doing Power Struggle, it was so easy. Like when you see the Power Struggle in play, it was easy to just put other cards in and force them to make a swap that's just a stupid swap that doesn't really give them a lot of advantage. So you would have to couple it with a way to trade and then do something with those cards right off the bat to really, I think, get a good amount of use of it. Otherwise, I could see situations where with Juxtapose, like you're trading with people and they're kind of gaming the system. They're giving you cards that you don't even want, right? I can see that that's a possibility with it. But I've never personally played it.
Greg is asking, what is your #1 goal to acquire next for your collection?
That's okay. For big cards, you probably want to hear about big cards.
It's Pikachu.
It's a Pikachu. I need 4 Mishra's Workshops. I only have 1. And I had 4 of them when I was in college. I got back up to, I think, 3 of them, like in 2005 when I had those cards before I sold them. But I haven't ever had like 4 again since then. Oh, wow. Somebody just donated money. Thank you, Roger. Ding, 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 ding,
Thanks,
ding,
Roger,
ding.
for my Starbucks.
See, this is where I need a bell. I'll be ringing the bell right now.
Oh, okay.
So thank you for that. Okay, so yeah, I lost my train of thought. So the Mishra's Workshop. If I had a Mishra's Workshop, then I could play the Stacks decks in Vintage, which I very much like those Stacks decks. They're very fun to play. just how they lock down and control the environment. And I could even play in Eternal Central versions of old school rules, the 4 workshops. So those would be the next ones that I want to go for. I bought one. It's funny. I actually sold some Bitcoin, and I used that to buy the one workshop that I've got. And then shortly afterwards, I made a video. It's actually about almost an exact year ago now. I put a video out, and I was telling Magic players, this is after the 20,000 Bitcoin bubble popped, and it came down, it was about like 15 grand. I sold some Bitcoin, and I told people, sell your Bitcoin. People are selling Bitcoin, and they're buying Magic cards, right? So back up, look at prices of Magic cards, guys. Back it up a year ago, right? I was telling people to sell Bitcoin and buy Magic. That was a good call. I did that, right? So, but anyway, that's how I got that one Misha's workshop. So that's the ones I need to get next.
Patrick is wanting to know, do you ever play Cube, old school Cube?
Cube, yes. I have not yet done an old school Cube. So, hey, Daniel Chang, are you still on this video? If you are, just put a message in because I have a question. I wanted to throw a suggestion at you. So, okay, so for those who aren't familiar with Cube, it's a format where somebody that owns all the cards, they own the Cube. You collect up all these cards, one of each copy of the cards you want to put into it, and you just build a huge collection, and then you add in basic lands, and what people do is they draft these cards. So you take all the cards, you shuffle all of them up, you put them into stacks of 15, and you treat those stacks of 15 just like a booster pack. And then everybody has a booster draft, and you each get 3 stacks of 15, like 3 booster packs. And then you just literally do a booster draft. And then after you draft, you add in the basic lands, and then you just play a game. That's called cubing. So I've done cubes several times. They are fantastic because they don't cost you any money. You get to have that draft experience. It's a lot of fun. I mean, honestly, I think if people keep playing Magic for the next 50 years, Cube is going to be one of the ways that people do it. Nobody's got an advantage. If everyone knows what's in the Cube, then everyone is on the same footing, right? Because like everybody knows what the possibilities are out there, and it's up to you to be a good player. And so it's like one of the most fair ways you can actually do Magic, and it's so much fun. So in terms of old school, did Dan reply?
No.
Okay, maybe he's not in there anymore. Okay, so here's what I want to do. I've got an event coming up here pretty soon where there's a bunch of us that are going to meet up. I'm going to be there. Daniel Chang from Vintage Magic. Open Boosters is going to be there. Rudy from Alpha Investments, and Tavis King, Paul Mueller, and I think Jeremy maybe was going to come. Anyways, there's a bunch of us, maybe even a couple others. We're all going to meet up, and we're all going to be hanging out somewhere together. And I'm sure we're all going to be shooting videos and doing some content. And that's just in a few months we're going to do that. Anyways, what I want to get the guys to do is I want to put together an old school cube and maybe just throw in like a couple newer cards, right? And then I want to do a bunch of cube drafts with those guys. And I'm thinking that you guys would actually like to see that. Do you guys want to see Open Boosters, Rudy, Vintage Magic, all these people doing a cube draft with all these old original cards? So yeah, give me some feedback. You guys like that idea? I'll try to make that happen.
One person said yes. People are talking about how they like the cube format.
Yeah.
Roger's asking, just thought I'd ask, is your knowledge is well respected? The old school market had a huge run last year and it has settled now a bit. What's your take on 2019 for old school cards and pricing? Okay, so people always get angry at me when I answer finance questions because there's so many people that hate the financial talk. So I'm fine with answering the questions. It is what it is, and people need to get past themselves. Okay, so anyways, in terms of giving financial advice on it, I actually have a really good track record. Like I was telling people to buy old school cards, especially anything old school, even buy like revised cards that were like heavily played ones. For like the last year and a half, I was telling people to buy those cards, and they sure enough, they were going up like crazy. And then I made a video just a little while ago where I started like talking about how it looks like they've peaked and they've been pulling back. And then a bunch of my friends have been saying the same kind of thing in their own channels. So we were all kind of the opinion it seems to have plateaued for a while. And I had, in the last like 2 months, I've had a lot of people sending me messages saying like, should I buy an old school card? And I've been telling people for the last like 2 months, just wait, just slow down and wait right now.
I do not think the cards are going to crash. I do not think that they're going to just go into the hole and never recover. I do think we're in what's called a consolidation phase. In financial terms, that basically means like when you have a big bull run up, everyone gets excited and they all run in and they throw their money at something and it all goes up. Maybe the real value is here and then it overshoots that value because everyone's so excited. And then at some point people stop buying and everyone gets scared and then it falls down. And then what happens is the people that were only in it to make money and just kind of for the run up, they're the ones that sell. And all the people that stay and do not sell are the people that just love it. Or the people that, and this is where the term comes from. It has to do with what's called weak hands and strong hands. Weak hands are like if you have to borrow money to buy an investment and you can't really hold it because you have to pay monthly payments on it. That's called weak hands. And as soon as the price starts falling or you have to wait for a year to get your money back out, you're going to sell. You're very weak in that investment. Strong hands are the people that have a lot of money. They don't have to sell. They can just sit on it for a while. That's a strong hands investor. So a consolidation phase literally means all the strong hands out there are watching prices come down and they can wait it out and they've got cash. So when everything else is dropping, they look at it and say, it's all on sale, and they just go scoop it up. It's like a buy the dip kind of scenario. Well, that's what I think old school and reserve list cards are in right now. I think it's a buy the dip consolidation phase. I have no idea where the bottom is going to be before it levels out and starts going back up again. We could be at the bottom right now. It looks like a bottom, and there's all these chart patterns that I can discuss. Like it looked like it was forming like a dead cat bounce for a little bit, but then it actually seemed to just kind of flatten out. So I don't think it's actually, we might actually be in the bottom. I think we'll be able to tell in like another few months if we're actually in that kind of bottom. And so I might switch gears and start telling people to just start buying as fast as they can in like another like couple months once I see a little bit more price stability. And we were almost hitting that, by the way, because the prices fell. Like I watched my collection and it got up to like about 123 grand for my cards that are sitting here. And then it fell down to like around like 115. And then it slowly dropped to about like 112. And then it just got flat for a little bit. And I thought that was the bottom. Then it had like another shot down, but it seems to have recovered. So I don't know. We might almost be at the bottom, but I'm going to wait a little bit longer. So maybe in like another like couple months, it's going to be like a good, there's enough evidence to say we've consolidated. And if you're going to buy, you better get out there and do it. So we'll have to just see in the next couple months.
Everyone's saying yes to the cube draft.
Okay. Everybody likes the cube draft idea.
A 93-94 cube draft.
So that was generally what I was thinking, but it would be very fun to do just old school cube draft. And I've got the cards. I can definitely do that. But just how cool would it be to see like just a few new cards in there just to shake it up, right? All these old school original print cards and then like a Jason the Mind Sculptor or like a Yawgmoth's Will or just, I don't know, something to just kind of shake it up and get people to be like, what? You put that in there? I don't know. Let's see what you guys think about that. Hey, Vara Dark's in here. How's it going, Vara?
She's asking, where's the application to be in the cube draft? Laugh out loud.
Well, you know, it's funny that you ask that because there's other YouTubers I'm in contact with. And so like sometimes like I'll pitch the idea like, hey, what do you guys think about inviting this person? And then everybody kind of talks about it. And it's like down to everyone's comfort level. And do they trust them? Do they know them and stuff like that? So yeah, it's a possibility. It's a possibility. That's how we picked up Tavis King, came into the group and stuff like that because he's just a great guy, makes cool content, very trustworthy, stuff like that. But you got to realize, you guys, knowing people and being trustworthy it's a big deal when you're literally going to sit down with people and play with a couple $1 million worth of cards, right? It's as simple as that. And also like letting people know like, oh, hey, yeah, sure. I've got like a couple $100,000 worth of cards. And here's my address, by the way. You got to be very secure about that, letting people know that. So you got to know people pretty well, right? Build up that trust.
Dingo Paz, as long as you guys raw dog the cards, no sleeves, that would go viral.
Oh. Okay, we're not using my cards then. Someone else can actually use their cards for an old school cube draft. I am not doing that with mine. Now, having said that, I don't own any investment grade cards, really. I don't have any slab cards. I've got no problem with it. I don't actually have any. But the cards I have, I do actually just love them. I cherish them. I don't want them to get torn up. I'm definitely not playing with my cards unsleeved. No way, man.
I'll do it. I'm just kidding.
You want to do that?
I know.
Any other questions?
Nope. People are just saying laugh out loud and stuff. And
yeah, it is hard to shuffle slab cards in a cube. So let's see, we're an hour in now, and so if anyone else has got any other questions, I'd say throw them out there. Otherwise, maybe we'll call it a day right here.
A night, day, morning,
yeah,
afternoon.
Yeah, call it a night. It's 9:00 p.m. here in Orlando, Florida.
Roger asks, after seeing the so-called Last Master set come out now being Ultimate Masters, do you believe this is the case, or they will rebrand it next year?
Oh, yeah, they're for sure going to do it again. I don't believe it for a second. And if I had a way, I could put money on the line and bet on that one. I don't know if they're actually going to call it a Masters set. They might not. But we all know what it basically is. It's Wizards kind of combing back through the files, looking for all these old cards of value that the players want to actually have these cards. So look at us. We're the good guys. We're helping the players get these cards. So they pull out all these good cards that people apparently want, and they print them again, and then they raise the cost of these boxes so they can get more profit. That's the game they're playing. I don't know if they're going to call it Masters again. They might call it something else. But I'm positive that's what they're doing. They're reprinting old cards in a more expensive set to increase their profit margin. So absolutely, I think they're going to do that again.
Carl wanted to know what the other guitar is.
Oh, okay. It's so if you have a Gibson, you got to have a Fender style. So this is a it's not a straight up Fender. It is a Fender Squire. I know the light on it's making it so shiny. I love gold things. So this is actually, it's a 60th anniversary. It has gold plated pieces on it and stuff like that. It's the gold Fender Squire edition, and I just wanted, you know, the very fast neck. You know, that's my rosewood neck over there. So here's my maple, is that what it is? Neck on this one, just to be a little bit faster if I'm doing some clapped in style stuff like that. So that's what that guitar is.
What is your old card expansion cutoff?
Old card expansion cutoff. I'm trying to think of what that means. Like when I stopped buying cards? Is that maybe what that means? So if you're talking about when I stopped buying cards in terms of going back to older sets, the only things I'm not buying right now so much is the newer cards, because the newer cards, they're played in the newer formats and everybody wants them, so they have a bunch of value. But then as soon as they rotate out, that value drops. I've got no beef with buying anything that's like older, that's already gone through that depreciation. So, like, for example, I was literally just thinking, and actually I was going to talk to you about that, actually. That I wanted to go, I do this every once in a while. I'll go in, like, Star City Games, and, like, I'll compile a list of, like, missing cards that I don't own that are very inexpensive cards that I need. And it's hard to go to, like, a shop and say you want it, but a lot of times if you just go to, like, Star City Games or Card Kingdom or something, you could just kind of, like, I can use my electronic collection to compile a list of, like, inexpensive, less than 30, 40 cent, maybe $1 here or there kind of cards that I don't have that I want. And I just want to pile up a big list of those. And then I was going to buy it. Like, I've done that several times. You spend like $100 and you get a whole bunch of missing cards to fill in slots. And if they're all cards that are, like, well out of print, you just get them so cheaply, right? I think I got, okay, Balduvian Horde used to be this amazing card in Alliances. It was like a $25 card for a while. I got 4 of them for $1 just like a little while ago, like Alliances Balduvian Hordes. And it was just, they're just so cheap, right? So I got no beef against buying those. I'm absolutely filling in gaps because I want my collection. I want to have honestly, I want play sets of every card is what I really want. If I'm just honest about it, I just want play sets of every card. And if I can pick them up really cheap, I totally will. What I don't want to do is go out and spend $500 on buying a new standard deck or a modern deck, and then as soon as they reprint them, they just annihilate my value. That's what I'm not interested in at all.
Dylan's asking, do you currently manage your own investments or do you use an advisor?
Good question. Okay, guys, we're switching gears here. So yeah, I do manage my own investments, and I got into financial knowledge and studying and history like in around 2007. And so I started reading books, and that's why like I'll actually give advice to friends and stuff about like stock market, housing market, bond market. I'll talk about like where the federal funds rate comes from and how interest rates all affect each other. I've put videos out on that kind of stuff. It's why I know about Bitcoin. I'm huge into finance, so I do manage my own finances. Last year, I day trade stocks. Last year, I made 38% day trading stocks. This year, I've been sitting back because like this market it's kind of been a bear market. I've been doing some trades, but not a lot. I've been mostly like staying liquid just because I'm waiting for this bear market to like go through its consolidation phase. So yeah, I do manage my own investments, and Magic the Gathering is not something I go into for investment. And I know Daniel always writes me about that. I actually do. I have some real estate. I have some stock market. I've got some bonds. I've got cash that I carry. I do have Magic, but it's not for the purpose of rolling it over and making money on it. I've day traded cryptos and stuff like that. I absolutely follow my own financial advice. What I would recommend you guys do, if any of you want to learn about that stuff, you've got to learn your financial history. You got to know why things are the way they are to be able to see through what's going on. And I'm not telling you guys to go out and become gold bugs. You don't have to go do that. But I will tell you that the precious metal community, like, you know, they got their tinfoil hats and everything. But the thing is, those guys actually know an awful lot of history. They can say what happened and why. Here's why we have this currency. Here's why this country failed. Here's why this world war happened. And they can back it up with an awful lot of data. Go watch the Hidden Secrets of Money, episodes 1 through 10, made by Mike Maloney. You don't have to go buy it in gold and silver, but just watch that series because he gives an awful lot of history that's very correct on what's happened in the world and why. So that's one, The Hidden Secrets of Money by Michael Maloney. The second one that I very much advise you to watch, there's Chris Martenson is another financial advisor, and he has a website called Peak Prosperity. And his whole thing is he watches like the big picture kind of resources. He's watching like, you know, population growth versus how many fossil fuels we consume every year versus the growing or shrinking of the money supply. He just watches these as like big kind of moving pieces, and he kind of lays them over the top of each other. Like the kind of thing that Chris Martenson will mention is like, if your population growth is like this every year and your food production is like this, you're eventually going to have a problem because on the grand scale, you're not making enough food to feed everybody, right? That's the way he kind of looks at things. So watch The Crash Course by Chris Martenson, and it's by his website is called peakprosperity.com. That is a fantastic financial series to really give yourself a lot of knowledge. Okay, sorry. Turning off the financial gear.
Okay. Let's see. What was the next question? Korean or Japanese squire?
Oh, it's probably Korean. If it was Japanese, I assume they would have charged me more money for it, but I honestly don't know. So yeah, I don't know. It plays great, and I've got no problems with it. So honestly, I don't think I care.
Patrick is asking, what do you think the top 10 worst cards ever printed in 93, 94 are?
Oh man,
that could be a video.
That could be a video right there. Or that would be like a comedy of errors. But if I do that, you guys can't be this silent. How silent you guys were this time. You got to talk a little bit more.
Maybe the next video.
Yeah, the top 10 worst cards in 93, 94. Yeah, so maybe I'll hold my opinion back on that. But you guys, you got to show up and you got to have your opinions. You got to chat.
Green Gopher is asking, what do you think about Inferno in a red-white deck with cards like Healing Salve and Ivory Tower to gain life?
You'll have fun with it if that's your thing, but you're going to just get crushed. Because healing salve, you know, you gain some life, and then what happens is if they got control of the board state, whatever it is you're using to shut them down, they're just going to remove it, and they'll just swing a couple extra turns, and anything you gain from the healing salve is just gone, right? So, and you know, the Ivory Tower can be a very effective strategy, but you got to have another good solid win condition out there. So it sounds like a fun thing to try. I don't think it'll end up being super effective, but if that's fun for you, man, go for it.
Sean is asking, do you buy old bulk boxes of cards? Is it worth the time and money?
Oh my gosh. Okay, this can be a big topic. So I'll try to be pretty quick on it, again, because I don't know if I'm boring everyone. Tell me. Okay, so yes. First of all, let me just flat out answer it. Absolutely. One of the best ways to buy a Magic collection is go find someone selling a huge bulk lot. At least go through it enough to have some sense and if there's actual value there or not. And if there is, yeah, buy it. Because then what happens is you go through the whole thing, you find all these cards that you need, and you pull those cards out, and then you have all these cards that are left. And then you can turn around and maybe even like add some extra decent value cards that you got, add those back in, and then you can sell the thing back off, right? So my friends and I did this years ago back in Oregon. We called it the blob. And I've mentioned this on another video, where somebody had this huge set of cards, and I was the first guy to go. So I put down $200, and I bought this huge collection. And I didn't need a ton of stuff, but it was just so easy to like pull the things I needed out of there. So I pulled like 50, no, it's actually more than that. I pulled like 150 cards out of the blob that I actually needed. And then I sold it to my friend for like $170 or something like that. And then he pulled cards out that he needed, and then he took his extras and put it in. And then we passed it on to the next guy. He pulled out stuff that he needed, and then he put extras that he had in. And so the blob actually grew as it went to each of us, because it kept on gaining more and more cards that were actually, you know, just extras for all of us. But people all had the chance to just fill out all these missing slots. And when you back up and look at it at the end of the day, I think I spent $25 because I bought it for like $200, and I sold it for like $175. But I got like, I don't know, like $150 worth of cards, and it was all stuff that I needed, and it was just tons of smaller cards, right? So that's a great way to do it. Another big thing about buying big bulk is that a lot of people, they're just lazy, and they don't want to spend the time, and they don't want to go through and look for value. And so if I was going to even buy like a big old school collection, right? Let's say I didn't have anything, and I literally wanted to go buy Power 9 and dual lands, and I was starting from nothing, I would save up a big, huge pile of cash. And let's say the total value of this whole old school set was $60,000. I'd come at them with 40,000 cash and say, here's cash, sell it to me. And they probably would. And then right off the bat, you just get like a 30% discount, right? So that's the way to do it, man.
Roger's asking, what's your opinion on antiquities? Apparently with a 15M card print run, which against today's standard is small, you ever see even the basic commons becoming worth value? Or if WOTC does a artifact set again?
Yeah, actually, that's something I've talked about on my channel for quite a while. I think all of the old school cards have a lot of reason to go up, even the ones that aren't very good, very playable cards. So yes, Antiquities absolutely is going to have value. Even the cards that get reprinted, people just want the originals. And in old school, you need the original art, and it's just so much cooler to have the original cards. Now, again, that price went up real high, and it's pulled back for a while. So I'd wait a little bit longer to run in and start buying a lot of stuff. But yeah, absolutely. I've been a believer. I've been telling people to buy those. I think when I started telling people to buy Mishra's Factories and Strip Mines and all that, the factories were like $15 to $25. Like it was like a winter factory was like $30. And a summer factory was like 15, and a strip mine was like 10 for Antiquities. And I was telling people, go buy them. Go get these cards. They're going to go up. And now strip mine's like $100. Winter factory is like 400 or something like that. Yeah, I've been a believer, and I'm still a believer. Absolutely. We're in a little bit of a pullback here. I would just wait a little bit longer and then start buying again once it looks like it's stable, for sure.
Vera is asking if you could make one bold prediction for 2019 in MTG. What would it be?
In MTG, I think people are going to get very creative with the formats. I'm seeing a lot of new things pop out that aren't necessarily Wizards of the Coast dependent, and I think that's fantastic. And I think there's going to be more of that because it's so rewarding. And I'll give you a couple examples. There's a format, someone asked me about this on the last live stream, and I didn't actually know a lot about it, but I looked it up since then. It's called pre-modern. It's a format kind of like old school, where you have like, it's like certain cards from these certain sets, but it's like, it doesn't include any power 9 or dual lands, reserve list kind of stuff. That's not what it's all about. It's like cards from this set all the way to this set, and there's a lot of sets that are in there. And the idea is to build decks that were kind of big around those eras. But then they put together like a ban list of a bunch of cards that honestly I kind of wanted to see play, but they're out. But anyways, the pre-modern format that these guys are doing, you can set it up like an old school kind of format where like it's player ran. So Wizards of the Coast, they don't make new cards and put them in it. They don't control the rules. It's all done by players, for players, right? I think there's going to be more of that kind of thing. And I think that's fantastic because now, you know, you kind of get to go back to kind of what Magic more originally was. Like you're playing and you're collecting and you're building a community with people and you're getting to know each other. And the money that you put into these cards is going to be a lot more stable because those are the sets that people are actually looking at. I think there's going to be more of that is my bold prediction for 2019. There's, especially with Wizards of the Coast, just annihilating people's value. We all love Ultimate Masters, right? But come on, guys, they're printing everything you've got that has any value whatsoever. And at some point, people are going to decide they don't like that, right? So I think more non-Wizards controlled formats are going to keep popping up and gaining steam.
Okay.
Probably art and nostalgia are both really big with that card because people love it so much. You know, there's so much nostalgia for that card. And the artwork is just really cool. You got that picture of that little like dragon thing inside of the egg. It's definitely big in the disc decks. What's it called? The disco, troll disco type decks. Because you can get something out there and pop a disc and then have a nice 4/4 flyer. So yeah, they're a great card. It's got a lot of personality for sure. People really like it.
Carl wants you to check the head of the guitar and see where it is made.
I assume he's talking about the Stratocaster.
Probably.
Oh, it says crafted in China. My Chinese guitar. I didn't even know. But you know what? They did a good job. Good job, China. I love it.
That's funny.
You know, I never even thought to look on the back of it to actually see.
Red Baron 102 is asking favorite MTG artist.
Probably, it's either between Martenson or Dan Fraser. One of the two.
Greg is.
Oh, in terms of personality, sorry. Jesper Icing. Because he's a friend of mine and we actually play. He actually did the Bitter Blossom for the Ultimate Masters. He's done a lot of like artwork over the years. He's a friend of mine. He's in Sweden, and I even have videos online of us chatting and playing games and stuff. So he's my favorite personality-wise. If I had, and this is what I tell people, if I had to get a poster to hang on the wall, a big picture, Jesper's is definitely what I would want more than anyone else. But when you talk about Magic cards, like they're so small, I personally have a preference for the very simple artwork, which is why I like Martenson's Soul Ring and Dan Fraser's Moxes. Just something real simple and small. I just prefer that on my cards.
Greg is wondering if any chance you're coming to the Bay Area, would enjoy cubing with you.
I would love to come to the Bay Area. There was a whole thing that happened with the whole group there. I'm not going to get into it too much here. I'm from Chico, California and Sacramento area. So I have a lot of friends that did engineering and went into the Bay Area. So I've got friends in the Beasts of the Bay group and all around that area. So I don't have any plans at the moment to go out there. But I just love playing old school. I love playing cards. I would love to go out there. So yeah, please just email me, stay in contact. And if I'm going to head out to the Bay Area, I'll try to let people know. And I would love to do a meetup. That'd be fantastic.
How much longer do you want to
go? Is it slowing down now?
No, I'm just wondering because there's still questions.
Well,
so I didn't know if you wanted to.
We're at an hour 20, so yeah, I suppose I don't want to not answer people's questions, so let's try to do that. Yeah.
Dingo Pass. I think that's how you say his name. I don't know. What is your preferred day trading platform? Any thoughts to share to get started?
Oh, okay. So if you're just getting started, okay, here's what I would do. Absolutely, I would do this. Don't go big when you're first getting started. And it has nothing to do with your intelligence level. It has nothing to do with your financial history. When you first get started in day trading, you have to learn how to handle your own emotions. You got to know what you're doing. You got to know the investments you're going for, but you got to know how to handle how you feel about it, right? So the way I would start is go get the app called Robinhood. And if you're going to be day trading your actual retirement or big investments, you got to put enough money in that it scares you a little bit, because that's going to bring out the emotion. So get the Robinhood app, put like $500 into the Robinhood app, pick like 10 stocks that you think that you could do some movement with, you could do some trades with, and just try to go learn those stocks. Watch how they move on charts, learn about the companies, learn what makes them go up and go down, and just start day trading those 10. And then what I want you to pay attention to is how you feel about it and how you react. Because some of your worst mistakes is, like, I'll tell you one that I made. I actually bought Facebook right after it IPO'd. It came out at like 40 bucks. It dropped down to $22 a share. And I put, let's just say, a lot of money in at $22 a share. And like, as of today, it's like $150 a share. It was absolutely the right move, right? I knew how much the company was worth. I knew what the resources were. I knew it was a good investment. But I went in so big. I put so much money in that the stock moved from like 23 or so dollars down to like 21. And I went, and I pulled all my money back out. I lost a big chunk of money. And then shortly afterwards, it just started like climbing up, and it's been way up since then. Like, again, like I bought it at like $22 a share, and it hit like $180 a share a little bit ago. And I knew it was going to go there. But the problem was I went in so big that I got scared. I put all my eggs into that basket, and I put so much emotion on the line that I just wasn't willing to let it ride. If I had done like an eighth of that investment, I very likely would have left it, and then I would have made a very healthy profit from it. That's the kind of thing you learn, how you actually start working with your own trading. So yeah, go get Robinhood, put some money in it, learn a few specific stocks. It's like your training wheels. Figure out day trading with that, because the worst you're ever going to do is lose that 500 bucks, right? But the lessons you're going to get are huge, right? That's what I would do.
Herman Knitter is asking, is Summer Magic allowed in old school? I got a lure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Summer Magic, that's all revised stuff, and everything revised is allowed in old school. Absolutely. But you sleeve it up, because Summer Magic's real pricey stuff, right?
Albert was saying he loves the videos, advice, and live content. He'd love to play a game sometime.
Me too, man.
He does 93, 94 EC rules, but could adjust to Swedish if you'll accept a few SE ice cards.
Hey, you know what, man? I'll play any format you want. That's what Jesper and I do, and we're going back and forth. Like, sometimes we play Swedish rules, and the next time we play, he's going to do EC rules, because that's closer to what I do most of the time. So yeah, I would love to play. It just honestly just comes down to time. Nothing more than time. Like, if I've got some open cycles to get an old school game, and that's all that it comes down to, right? So let's hope the market crashes and my investments go crazy, because then I can retire and we can play games all the time.
Yay.
Yeah, you'd like that.
Yes. I won't play games all the time, but I do want you home. Sean Leonard was asking, did you open any Ultimate Masters? No,
I did not. I didn't think it was going to be that good at EV, so I avoided it completely. And I was very wrong about that. And today I don't want to buy it, because I don't trust Wizards to not print it. I feel like they're going to print it. So yeah, I'm just staying out of it.
Carl wants you to come to Canada to see him in Perp.
That would be cool. I would love to hang out with you and Mike Hatcher if I come up there. And I'm pretty sure Mike would be willing to do that. We've been emailing back and forth still since I did the video.
Dingo Paz is saying, first we don't talk, and then we ask too many questions.
I know, right? Where were you guys before?
Rob C was saying we need to get a 93, 94 old school group for Florida going.
Yes, we do. Absolutely. Okay, that was Rob C?
Yes.
Okay, can you make a note of that?
Rob C.
I got to write that down. Rob, email me. We do need to make a 93, 94 group for Florida. And I hope you have the same sentiment as me. I would love to make that a group that officially just allows proxies. I would love to do that because I want it to be an inclusive group. I want people to just come in and play. I do not want to tell people they can't play because they don't own the cards. That is definitely my sentiment. I'm not going to force that down anyone's throat, but I hope you feel the same way because I think that'd be such a better way to do it. You get many more people coming in.
Cyber Knight 8610 is asking, is Soul Ring banned in old school?
No, it is not. It's restricted though. You can only have one because it's some people have voted Soul Ring one of the best cards in all of Magic. They even outvoted it with Lotus on that Instagram poll that guy was doing. Old school MTG, like they actually voted Soul Ring above the Black Lotus. But yeah, it's allowed, but you can only have one.
Herman Knitter is asking, what is your view of singleton format? I haven't tried it. I haven't tried it, but I would think the games get a lot more varied.
Well, I mean, that's effectively what EDH is. It's a singleton format. I haven't done singleton 60-card deck format before. I suppose it would be fun. It would be very interesting to see how the deck's going to come out and unfold. Got nothing against it. I would love it. So I'm a huge EDH player, and I call it EDH, not Commander. And it's not because like I have anything against Commander players. It's because I started playing EDH when it was actually EDH, and the games were much more friendly. And it was like you build decks of stuff that you just want to play that's just fun. And you weren't trying to just knock everyone off the table and kill everyone. And then WotC made Commander and made it all competitive. So I love singleton formats, the ones that I've done. EDH is absolutely one of my favorite formats. But my favorite way to do it is the much more laid back, sit with a bunch of friends around a table, have some pizza, and just kick back and play like some of your favorite cards. And the restricted list is allowed. But don't play stuff like Winter Orb. Don't play a lot of counter spells. Don't play City of Solitude, stuff that locks people down. Play stuff that's fun. Play Howling Minds, Mana Flares, right? That kind of stuff.
Diego Paz is asking, did you ever get an amazing card while playing with Ante? I
never played with Ante, unfortunately. Ante was already out when I started in 1996. And even if it was there, I'm not a gambler. I probably would have just been like, no thanks, guys. I'll just buy it or I'm good.
Sean Leonard asked you to play Commander, but then he said, never mind, you just answered that.
Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry.
And then Dylan asks, how did you become such a QT 3.14?
3.14? Is that like pi? 3.141596? I'm an engineer, man. We got to remember this stuff. But I'm not sure what he means by QT. Oh, cutie? Like a cutie? Oh, cutie pie. I get it. Took me a bit to figure that out, didn't it? Not so smart there, Edwin.
Oh my gosh. Are you sure you're an engineer?
Yeah. Am I sure I'm an engineer? I don't know, man. Sometimes. Brawl's 60 cards. I see somebody said there. Yeah. Brawl's I guess it's a cool singleton format. I've never actually done it. I don't have any problem with it. I've just never done it.
Albert wanted to know, why isn't Force Field played more? I love it.
Force Field, I have a huge passion for that card as well. I love how Force Field, if you take like a Mox Jet and a Force Field and you match them up, that art, that flow actually matches those two cards. Dan Frazier did that intentionally. That's so cool. And it's a really good card. I don't play it in competitive vintage or old school decks because it's just a case of like there's just better cards than Force Field. It comes out, people swing with a lot of small creatures, and it's like instead of taking two, I take one. It's got some usefulness to it, so it's a good card though. But where I really think it shines is in EDH or Commander, because when I put a Force Field out and play there, people are like, sometimes they just don't attack me because they look at me and say, well, I can still do damage to Edwin because he's got the Force Field. But if I just go hit Bob over here, Bob doesn't have anything, or I can do more. So they just go the other way, right? And so, yeah, I like that effect with it. I think that's where it's the best, personally.
Timothy's asking the most important question. Do you thank your wife enough for letting you play Magic the Gathering? I
thank her all the time. You guys, I got to tell this story about my wife. Okay, in like 2007, somewhere about there, she knew that I was like, after I sold my Power 9 at the end of college, I had this beta set of Power 9. They were beautiful. I sold them, graduated, came up, was working at Intel, and I was like trying to recollect my Power 9 cards. And of course, at that point, even this is like in 2007, even then the Black Lotus was like super expensive, right? And I had sold guitars, RC cars, all this stuff just so I could like buy back into like Power 9 cards. And I got to where I had like almost everything. One of the last cards to get was the Black Lotus. One of the cards up in Washington, one of the shops, they called me suddenly out of the blue and said, okay, Edwin, we have a list here that if we ever get a Black Lotus in to call you. So we're calling you. We just got this one. It's like near mint condition. It's beautiful. We'll sell it to you for $750. And I did not have any money at the time, like because I had just like for hobbies, I'd gotten rid of all my other stuff and I was real cash low at the moment. And I was so upset because like I didn't have the money for it. And then my wonderful wife was like, I know how much this means to you. Just go get it. And I'm never going to forget that. So I did. I hopped in the car. I drove there like 100 miles an hour. And I bought that unlimited Black Lotus and it was beautiful. And I just cherished it. And so I had all those cards until like 2011, and I eventually ended up selling just like my top 20 cards again, just because like there was like nobody playing vintage anywhere. The cards were sitting there and they had a ton of value, and I thought the bubble was going to pop. And so I did end up selling that Black Lotus, I think for like $1,200. And so what I did is I sold it for $1,200. And then I took that money and I split it in half, and I gave half of it to her and half of it like I kept to put into like other hobbies and stuff. And I'm never going to forget that she did that for me. That was huge. So I have to brag a little bit about it because of that.
Well, I have my own things too.
Yeah. It goes back and forth.
Yeah, I have my own hobbies I spend a lot of money on. So Timothy says at the end, okay, so you owe your wife big time.
I did.
I owe him too.
Yeah, it does go back and forth.
He lets me have things that are pretty big. So I'll just leave it there. That could be a separate video.
Could definitely do a video on that.
Oh my god.
But I want to stay married, so I'm not going to bring those things up.
No, be all good on your side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let's see. What is your favorite monocolor old school deck? That's from Cyber.
Black is an awful lot of fun when you play monocolor, just because it just hits everything they've got and knocks cards out of their hand. It has you play discs, you blow everything up. You got fast creatures, you've got fast mana with the Dark Ritual. If I had to just shoot from the hip with an answer, I'd probably say black. But I often really enjoy a good green deck or blue deck as well, so they're way up the list too.
Timothy's still talking about the thing. He said, yes, staying married is way more important than the Black Lotus.
Absolutely. Yep. I would sell every card I own if I needed to for my wife or my daughter. Absolutely.
He would.
But then I beg them, please don't make me sell them. Please don't get sick or something. Just stay healthy.
We will try our hardest.
Put down the cheeseburger. I need to keep my power cards.
That I will not put down. Oh my gosh. I think we got all the
Okay, are we all caught up?
I think we're caught up.
Okay, and we're an hour and a half into this though, so This is probably a good spot to end it. So thank you guys for joining the stream. If we do another one, I need you guys to ask questions. You just left me hanging there. Everyone's like, I don't know what's he gonna say. Watch this nerd flounder here for a while.
They were just trying.
They're just listening. They're just enjoying it. So thanks everyone for joining. I had a great time again talking with all of you guys. You are fantastic. You guys are the reason why I'm doing this. This isn't for profit. This isn't for anything. That's why I don't have a Patreon. I do this channel to meet you people because I love this hobby. I love meeting people. I love getting involved in it. I've got a career, right? I'm fine, right? That's all over there. This is for you guys. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Good night.
Bye, everybody.
You guys.